Yes, like the clothes which we are wearing. Okay, it either might be synthetic or either be it might be natural, right? It might be coming from plant sources or it might be coming from animal sources. So the plant sources and the animal sources out of which our clothes are made up of, they are basically fibers. Okay. So in the chapter, you see fibers have been divided into two types based on their origin. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about what are fibers. Okay, then we will talk about its sources. All right, guys. So fibers are very small element in textile. Fibers are what? They are very small element in the textile. Textile means clothes. So if you take out any piece of clothes, whether they are synthetic, whether they are non-synthetic clothes, so the elements are basically, let's talk about the molecules found in them. It is called as fibers. Fibers are also called to be as threads which are obtained from plants and animals. Okay. So let's take example of cotton, flax, jute, silk. These are different types of fibers, guys. Okay. All right. So all the clothes which we are wearing, they are made up of various types of fibers, and they go through different types of processes in the method of formation. So the based upon origin, as I said earlier, that it might be coming from plant sources and it might be coming from the animal sources. So some of the fibers that comes from the plant sources are what? See in the next image here, jute plants. Okay, we make jute clothes as well. We made jute bags, so that is coming from the jute plant. Talking about the cotton, guys. So the cotton clothes which we are wearing, it comes from cotton plants, isn't it? Then we have some types of clothes which are coming from animal sources, See over here, the sheep, yaks, and mountain goats. These are some animals which give off woolly fibers, isn't it, Vygans, on this? Okay, so we
Yes,
have
sir.
some common animal sources also, which gives us mainly wool. Okay, so the animals which you guys are seeing in the figure, they basically gives us wool. Then there are another class of animals. For example, you will see there are silk as well. So silk is coming from and is coming from the cocoon. That is an insect. Okay. So then another type of cloth that is coming from animal, it is the cocoon. All right, guys. So from the cocoon, we are also getting animal fiber. Okay, guys. Now let's talk about what is fiber is basically made up of. So fibers are made up of very small molecules called as monomers. Very small molecules called monomers. And when these monomers join together, it forms into polymers. So hence we can say that fibers are made up of monomers and combination of monomers that is called as polymers. So far everything's clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes, Sundus, to you as well?
Yes, I already said yes.
Okay, good, good. Now, the two most important animal fibers in the chapter you guys will see, it is wool and silk. All right. So it is coming from different types of sheep, goats, yaks, whereas silk comes from silkworms, right? So wool and silk are animal fibers. And some of the plant fibers which we were discussing, they are examples of cottons, they are examples like jutes, right, guys? So they are coming from plant-based products. Okay, so let's start our discussion with talking about the first common animal fiber, that is wool. Okay, all right. So before that, let's cover this part as well. That fibers from plants, it is mainly composed of cellulose and cellulose fibers. Remember, in the previous chapter, we were talking about cellulose, right? So cellulose is what?
Yes.
Basically, the cell wall of the plant cells which we see, it is made up of cellulose, right, guys? Okay. So the obviously plant fibers are also composed of this cellulose. Okay, and they are most commonly used to make paper and clothes, right, guys? And cellulose generates long, often highly lustrous fibers when prepared
So
appropriately.
cellulose, the cellulose is mainly for like paper and cloth.
No, we are talking about the fibers from plants, right? So
Yeah, that only.
fibers from plants, which we're talking about here now, they are basically, see, the plant based products, they basically consist of cellulose, right? So whether you are taking the fiber from the plant, whether you're taking the fiber from its leaves, or whether you're taking the fiber from its stem or from its bark, all of them consist of cellulose. Why? Because one thing common in the cell wall of each part in each cell of the plant is cellulose, right, guys? So
Yes.
the fibers which you're obtaining from them, it is used for basically two purposes. One is paper and cloth. So guys, you guys must be already aware that mainly bamboos are preferred for paper making, right? So do you
Yes.
guys have any idea where the art of paper making originated from?
China.
Us? China. Exactly. Okay, so the art of paper making is almost 4 to 5 thousand years old. Okay, it's not a recent discovery. It discovered over a period of thousands of years, right? Okay. Now, plants including cotton, jute, flax, and hemp are used to obtain plant fibers. These are the most common plants from which fibers are obtained to make textiles, to make clothes. Now, let's talk about the most common animal fiber which we obtain. So, wool is the most commonly used animal fiber. Wool is very soft, wavy, that is curly. Okay, and it's hairy because it's obtained from the covers of the body of the sheep or goat, right? It's basically the hair of the goats or ships, right? Now, actually, in the animals which are living in the cold region, you see, they this wool which we are obtaining from them, you see, it's actually modified form of hair that grows on their body to keep them warm and safe from the cold and harsh climate, right? So it helps to keep the
Yes.
body of the sheep and goats warm, right, guys? So wool mainly comes from sheep. The majority of the source of wool is sheep, right? Okay.
Yes.
So wool, the sheeps grow back here on their skin, and then again the farmers who domesticate them, they cut off the hairs once in a year and they sell it in the market, and then it is processed and prepared and then cleaned and then sorted and then sold into the market. So some of the common animals which we are aware of, they are sheep, they are goat, right? They are yak, even camel. Camels also have wool on their body. So in the desert, how do
Snake
farmers
also, right?
take which one?
Snake.
Will you please repeat more clearly?
Snake.
Please, Sundar, will you pronounce the spelling? Spell the spelling.
Snake. Snake.
Snake. No,
Yeah.
snakes don't have wool on their body, no? Snakes have
No,
is
they sell this what? The skin.
no, that is different thing. They have got scales of their body, scales over their body, isn't it, Vaiga? You see, they have
Yes,
got no scales
llama.
on their body. Yeah,
Llama is an example, right?
yeah. Plumber is an example. Very good. Like then you have alpaca. Alpaca is also an example.
Rabbit.
Okay, rabbits, but usually rabbits are not. They are not domesticated for this
Yeah.
purpose for obtaining wool. Okay, so imagine if you shave the hair of the rabbit, that won't be looking cute. Okay, right. So these animals have developed a very thick cover of hair on their body. Okay, that helps to keep them warm, especially during winter seasons. Right. Okay. Now, some of the most commonly Indian breeds of sheep are, let's say, Lohi, Bakarwali, then Marwari, then Paharwadi. These are local names of sheep found in hilly regions of India, and these are known to produce very good quality of wool. So you especially you will see the sheep which breed in the region of North India, especially in Kashmir, you will see they give a very high and very rich quality of wool. You guys must have heard about Pashmina wool, right? So they are wool of very good quality, right, guys? Okay. So wool, which we are talking about, these are obtained from, it is obtained from these common animals, right? Now, once the wool is obtained from their body, once it is basically removed from their body, then it goes through a number of different processes. Okay, where it is cleaned and sorted and then dyed, and then it is ready to be sold into the industries, where it is turned into threads and then into textiles, that is into clothes. Okay, so the rearing and breeding of sheep, it is basically, what does it mean? Rearing and breeding of sheep, what does it mean? So rearing, it is basically process of breeding, feeding and providing medical care to sheep. So to obtain wool from the sheep, first farmers grow them on a large scale, they breed them on a large scale. Okay, they keep hundreds and thousands of sheep in a flock. Okay, so they take good care of them, they feed them, they provide them medical care. This breeding here means basically the reproduction that takes place between the sheeps. So sheeps that are of higher breed, that have got good quality of hair on their body, good quality of wool in their body, so they are interbreeded. Okay, so certain types of sheep are known for bearing, known for growing thick and dense, thick and long hairs on their body. So especially they are selected by the farmers and they are grown especially for the purpose of obtaining wool. Right, guys? So rearing is simply the process of domesticating the sheep and taking care of them, providing medical care to them as well. Right, guys? Now, what about breeding? Some special breeds of sheep are especially chosen to give birth to sheep, which have only soft under hair. Okay, so the sheeps which take example of local sheeps. Okay, the take example of sheeps which do not have good amount of hair growing on their body. So will the farmer select them for breeding?
No.
No,
Obviously
sir.
no. Okay, they will select those sheeps which develop a thick coat of hair on their back, on their body. Okay, which will give good quality of wool in large quantities. All right. So they will raise the breeding the sheep of high quality will raise the quality and quantity of the wool produced by the farmer, right? So this process of selecting parents for obtaining special characteristics in their offspring is termed selective breeding. So suppose the male and female sheeps which are being mated, which are being breeded, they will be chosen in such a way that they should be bearing good amount of wool on their body. That is simply rearing and breeding here. All right. Now let's talk about the steps which goes in the process of obtaining wool from the sheep. All right. So you must have seen your grandmothers and your mothers. They must be doing knitting in their free time. Have you seen your grandmothers, especially in their free time, they used to knit sweaters for you in winters? Yeah. So you see, yeah, guys. So you see, the yarn which we basically use for knitting sweaters or weaving shawls, it is simply the wool, right? So wool is obtained from the sheep by a long process, which involves the following process, which I'm going to list here. So the first process involved in the first process involved in obtaining wool, it is called as shearing. SHEAR. Okay, let me write the steps first. The steps involved in obtaining wool. See the first image, guys. What is this farmer doing in the first image?
Taking out the sheeps.
Yeah. It
Hair.
is basically cutting off the ear from the body. Okay, in the form of a flea. Okay, so they do not cut they do not cut the hair in small proportions or in discrete units. They try to cut the hair in a continuous manner. So they obtain a large fleet. Okay. So they will cut it like this. Okay, not like this, a small portion from here, a small portion from this part of the body and this part of the body. No, they will shave it off in a continuous manner. So while shaving off the hair from the continuous manner, they end up getting a wool in the form of a fleet. All right, guys. Then is the next step, that is called as what? Scoring. See, this is the next step. Scoring. Okay. So we will discuss each of them in detail. Then next comes the step of sorting. SORTING, sorting. So wools are also of different colors and different thickness. So wools of different colors and different qualities are separated from each other. Suppose wools of white color are separated, okay, in a separate bag. Wools of a brown color are separated in a separate bag, right, guys? Then suppose the farmers only want the industry only wants to have white color of wool, but they have got brown and red and other colors of wool as well. So they will dye all of them in a same color. So then they can also dye it. That is the process of dyeing. All right, guys. Then comes the last two process, that is combing and spinning. Combing and spinning. Okay, so by the help of an image, we will try to understand all these steps. See the image here, guys. Okay, so first step is the process of shearing. Okay, so the hair of sheep along with a thin layer of skin that is called fleece are removed from the body of a sheep. That is simply the process of shearing. So let me write down the definition. And by the way, did you guys completed the notes of the previous class? Yes, Sundus and Vaiga. Did you guys were making notes of the previous class or not?
I'm
Yeah. Sundus and Vaiga.
I'm actually taking printouts and then.
Okay, you are taking printouts. Okay, that is okay. But try to make add some things from your side as well. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Like there are many things which I don't write in the presentation here. So many things which I just told you guys verbally. So the some things which I told you guys verbally, you guys can note it in rough. And Vaika, what about you? How are you making
I-
notes?
Sometimes I underline my textbook and sometimes I write it in my notebook.
Okay. But it's better if you guys make a fair note after every class. So, and one more thing for you guys, assistants, what I will do after the class is completed, I will provide the PPTs of the chapter. Okay, so that will also help. So
So we
the
have
hair of
all
yes,
PPT we have to write in NB. The PPT we have to write in the NB.
the PPT. Yes, Sundas.
The PPT that you told that you're gonna give, then we have to write that whole PPT in the notebook.
Yeah, the important definitions and important examples. Basically, you have to write it down in your notebook. Okay. Okay, the shearing, the hair of sheep along with a thin layer of a skin is removed from the sheep. This process is simply called as shearing. Is called as shearing. So why a thin layer of skin is also being removed, guys? So that it holds the fiber together. Okay, but it does not harm the body of the sheep. Remember that, because a very thin layer of skin is being removed. Okay, so it is simply the process of removing hair along with a thin layer of skin from the body. All right, guys. So they basically take help of a cutting machine similar to that is used by barbers, like the trimmers that is being used by barbers. The only difference is that they have got a very sharp edges on the trimmer. All right. So the hairy skin of sheep is removed in one piece and it is called as fleece. Okay, so which I told you guys that they are removed in a one piece. That is called as fleece. Okay, so fleece is the hairy part of a skin along with the hairy part of the skin along with hairy part of the skin that is removed at once. That is called as fleece. Okay, now then next comes the step of scoring. See the image. What do you guys think it's happening in the second image? Yeah. Yes. Look, the the hair which we have cut from the skin of the sheep, is it clean? No. It consists of different
No.
types of dust, dirt, sweat, grease, insects, and whatnot. Right. So the fleece must be cleaned before it can be processed into wool yarn. Right, guys. So it is thoroughly cleaned by washing with soap or detergent, and a lot of water is used in this process. So they take a tank basically. Okay, they put in all the fleece in it. Okay, they put in lots of detergents or soaps in it, and they keep on churning it. Right, usually one or two persons take two bigger sticks and they basically churn it. Okay, so it is basically the process of washing the fleece, right, guys? Okay, that removes dust, dirt, dried sweat, and grease or insects from the fleece. The process of removal of dirt, sweat, grease, or insects from the fleece. Now let's see the next step. That is the process of sorting. Okay, so the wool which we have obtained so far now, right? Look, after the sorting now, the fleece is taken out of the tank, then it is allowed to dry. All right, guys. Then only we can move further. So the wool is not uniform in all the parts of fleece of a sheep, and some part of the fleece it might be thicker. In some, for example, in the portion of the belly. Okay, the wool that is coming from the belly area of the sheep, that might be thicker than the wool that is coming from the other parts of the sheep. Okay, some parts of fleece have fine wool fibers where others have coarse wool fibers, right, guys? So they need to be sorted into different groups. Okay, all right, guys. And even you see, some types of different types of sheep have got different qualities of wools. Okay, so it's simply the process of separating the fleece of a sheep into sections according to the quality of woolen fibers. That is simply called as sorting. Yes, Santosh, define it. Define it. What is sorting?
What's up?
What is sorting?
Like to sort the, like suppose there is something like the sheep, some the wool is bigger and some wool is shorter. So they
Mhm.
will short the big one and the short they will sort the smaller wool.
And also according to the quality as well. Okay,
Yeah,
and
got it.
also as per the length of the fiber as well. Okay, some of the hairs are short, some of the hairs are long. So as per that, as also wools are separated. So the process of separating wool fibers based on size, quality, and types, that is simply called as sorting. Now comes the next step, that is carding here. Okay, so what happens in the process of carding, guys? Try to study the next image here. What is happening in this one? Yes,
They are so softening the wool.
they are basically trying to flatten it here.
Yeah.
Okay, so they are basically trying to flatten it here, and after that it is being made into yarn. But there's two steps missing here. Remember, there's two step missing here. Which
Yes,
one?
sir.
Spinning.
Combing and
Dyeing,
spinning,
combing
guys.
and-
Yeah. So after dyeing is basically what? Look, we have done shearing, we have done scoring and sorting. Now we can dye it before spinning it into a thread. So after sorting, one more step we can include here, that is dyeing, guys. Okay, sorry,
Dyeing.
the spelling is incorrect here. Over here, it's dyeing. Dyeing. So in which what we basically do? Look, the natural color of the sheep varies, no? It might be white,
Yeah.
black, brown, okay, or any different color. So the white woolen fibers obtained by sorting can be dyed in different colors, especially the white ones. Okay, it's difficult to dye colors of it's difficult to dye brown colors or black colors into different color. But the white wool, it is easy to dye into different colors, right, guys? So especially white wools are considered for dyeing, especially dyed. So let's add the next step here as well. Dyeing. So I'm not writing here because there's not enough space left here. So you guys can explain this step yourself. Okay.
Okay.
Now the next step is combing. So combing is what? It is the method to prepare woolen fibers for spinning the yarn. And this is done by using combs which have got metal teeth in it. Okay.
Sir, can you explain again? I
Look here.
didn't understand.
See the image here. See the image here. This is a comb which has got metal listings on it, metal teeth on it. Comb having metal teeth. Okay. So in the next step, what they are doing? They are basically using combs which have got metal teeth. Okay, and what it does, it basically strengthens the entangled woolen fibers. Like the woolen fibers earlier, they are entangled. Okay, they are entangled. So this method of combing, what it does, it helps to strengthen the entangled woolen fibers. Just like how you comb your hairs using a comb. Okay, you are basically strengthening your hair now. In the same manner, we are trying to straighten the entangled fiber here. Okay, guys. So that is basically done using a comb which has got metal teeth on it. So that is simply
So
the step
carding
of,
same.
it is same. Combing and cutting, both of them are same, just another terms. All
So
right, guys.
when exam came and it asked like which is the question will ask, so should I write carding or comb? So should I
You should
like
write, I think you can write both of them, like combing slash carding. It's okay.
yeah.
Okay. Now the next step is spinning. Okay, the spinning. Remember the charkha of Gandhiji? He used to also spin the cotton fibers or woolen fibers.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So the long woolen fibers which are obtained after carding or combing, now they are spun or twisted into a thick yarn which is called as wool. Okay. And now the grandmothers or your mothers, which basically you see, they used to knit the sweaters. So the yarn which is basically coming, it is coming after the process of spinning. Okay. So the short woolen fibers are also spun into fine yarns in this process. That is the last step, that is called as spinning, guys. SPINNING. Okay, hope that's clear. Okay, every step is clear now.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Sundus, to you.
I couldn't understand spinning.
Okay, look, in spinning, what is happening now? Look, in all the process up till carding or combing, what we have done, especially in the process of carding, we have straightened the entangled fiber here, entangled woolen fiber here. Okay, just like how you comb your hair, you try to straighten your hair. In the same manner, we are trying to straighten the entangled woolen fiber here. Now we need to spun those fibers into a form of thread. Okay, so in this process, basically the short woolen fibers, they are spun into fine yarn. That is basically they are being transformed into a form of thread, guys. Okay, hope that's clear. So for keyword, you can add it that process of
Yes.
making thread. You can understand it like this. Okay, so this is how we basically obtain wool. Okay, now can you guys explain me how wearing woolen clothes help us to keep warm? Yeah.
Sir, can you say again
Yeah, my question is
the
that
question?
how woolen clothes keeps our body warm? Just Vaiga answer on this.
The wool has the thickness that can keep us warm.
Okay, that is good. But what is the main reason behind it?
The wool is warm.
No, the wool is not warm. It's
It can
our
trap
body that is warm.
in between. It can
It
trap air in
traps
between.
air. Exactly,
In
exactly,
winter season.
exactly. Look, let's take a piece of
Sir,
woolen cloth over here. Yes, on this?
I will leave and join. My
Okay, no
internet
issue.
is like stable.
Okay, okay, we will wait for a minute for you. Okay, okay. Meanwhile,
And
Vaiga, you please continue to explain it. Yes, Vaiga, how it traps air and keeps our body warm.
Okay, so in winter season, like it's like a thick coating, so like it traps in air in between.
Hmm.
It
And
does
then
not. It's a good conductor, so it does not leave the air out.
no, no. Air is you are talking about air, or you're talking um, about the woolen cloth.
Like the woolen cloth, yeah, it traps air,
Yeah, it traps air and
keeps the body warm.
okay, our body is warm. Our body is emitting heat. Okay. Yes, on this. Look what happens now. Let's say this is your cotton cloth over here. Okay, and the fibers in it are arranged like this. So once you are wearing once you are wearing a woolen cloth, what happens? Air molecules get trapped in between the in between the woolen fibers, and they cannot escape your body. And we know that air is a bad conductor of heat. Air is a bad conductor of heat. So it will not allow the heat to pass from your body to the external environment. So in this way, it helps our body to keep warm. Right. Just like how carbon dioxide does not allow heat to escape from Earth's atmosphere and keeps the Earth warm, in the same manner, you see this woolen sweater which we wear, it traps the air in between our skin. See, let's say this is a woolen cloth, guys. Okay, and this is our skin. So in between the woolen cloth and our skin, air molecules are trapped. It cannot escape anywhere. So the heat that is coming out of our body, it remains in between our skin and between the woolen clothes. So it cannot pass anywhere. That's why our body remains warm if we wear winter clothes. Right? That's clear now?
sir, can you explain again?
Yeah, sure. Look, This is a woolen cloth which you are wearing over a screen. Let's consider it to be a layer of woolen cloth. And this is our skin here, skin, skin. Now, air molecules cannot pass from the woolen cloth into outside environment. The air which is trapped in between our body and between the woolen cloth. Okay. Now, they are so the woolen cloth is so fine that it does not allow molecules of air to pass through it. So the air is trapped here. And now we know that air is a bad conductor of heat. Air is a bad conductor of heat. Conductor of heat means what? Anything that allows heat to pass through it. Yeah. Right, guys? Conductor means what?
Yes.
Anything that allows heat to pass through it.
House.
Yeah. So, but air does not allow heat to pass through it. Although it will allow heat to stay in it, but it will not allow to pass the heat from itself to another medium. So heat is going to remain in the air itself, guys. So air traps the heat here, right, guys? That's why that's how woolen clothes keeps us warm. Hope that is clear to you, Sandus, now.
Yes.
Okay, good. Now look, there's some occupational hazards. What do I mean by it? Wool industry is now very important source of livelihood for millions of farmers who are engaged in this occupation, especially in India, right? So the people who do the job of sorting, especially separating the woolen fibers, okay, separating the woolen fibers, okay, they are called as sorters. What? The people who are
God.
engaged in sorting are called as
God.
sorters, guys. Sorting was this step, SORTERS. Okay, sorting was the third step here. Now, see this one. This person is sorting it.
Did you say something, sir?
Yeah.
Can you say again, sir?
Okay. Look, the people who are engaged in sorting the woolen clothes, the woolen fiber, they are called as sorters. SORTERS. Okay. So sorting is the third step involved in the production of wool. See, this farmer, this man over here is sorting the woolen fibers here. But we know that this woolen fiber is not pure from microorganisms. There might be so many microorganisms living in it. Okay. The process of scoring will only remove dirt, sweat, and insects from it, but it will not kill the microbes in it. Right, guys? Yes, Vaiga?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's why what happens now, many a times, the persons who are especially involved in the process of sorting, they are in direct contact with the woolen fiber. Okay. So the person who is involved in scoring is not touching the fleece as much as the person who is doing the process of sorting. And also the person who does the process of shearing, they use gloves. But the person who does sorting, he does it by bare hand. Okay. That's clear. The sorter's job is very risky here because sometimes they get infected by a bacteria called anthrax. The hope my writing's clear to you guys. Huh?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Job is very dangerous and sometimes they might get infected by a bacteria called as
Microbe.
no, the name of the bacteria called anthrax.
Anthrax.
Good. Anthrax. So anthrax is a bacteria that is risky for these sorters. Okay. So see, this person is a sorter here. Okay. And he has developed a disease called as sorter's disease. Okay. The name of the disease comes from their occupation. See, the name of the disease comes from their occupation. Okay. So this is a very deadly blood disease. Okay, see the blood has coagulated here. Coagulated. Who will explain the meaning of this word? Coagulated. Coagulated blood. Yes. In this, basically, blood coagulates. Okay, it becomes thick, solid, thick. Right. So in this, blood coagulates. Okay, basically it solidifies. All right, guys. Okay, so this occupational hazard, that is Sorter's disease, I hope that's clear. Sundus and Vaiga?
Yes,
Sir,
sir.
can you see again? My internet, it is very low, so I can't hear you like in between sometimes.
Okay. Look, what happens now? The people who are engaged in the work of sorting the woolen fibers, they get infected by a very deadly bacteria, which is called anthrax. And this anthrax, what it does, it basically coagulates the blood. The blood thickens and it solidifies. So they develop conditions like this. Okay, so this disease is called as Sorter's disease. I hope that's clear and you heard it. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Oh, okay. So you guys use Wi-Fi for internet connection, or from you guys have got connection from smartphone?
Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. Okay. Okay. So from Wi-Fi, I think your Wi-Fi have got some issue then. Okay. But usually from Wi-Fi does not network issues should not be occurring. Okay, Sundar. So please get it checked. Okay. So that the class is
No, actually,
mm,
my dad is in India, so that's
okay.
why. His phone is also connected to the Wi-Fi.
Okay. All right, now let's talk about another type of animal fiber, that is silk here. So silk is what? It is simply a very fine, strong, soft, and shining fiber which is produced by silkworms. Okay, so silkworms, in the process of making their cocoon, okay, they build a layer of fiber over their body that appears as cocoon. So if you guys have studied about the process of about the life cycle of a butterfly, have you guys studied about the life cycle of a
Yes.
butterfly?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. See, the silkworms are basically the caterpillars which you see. It's the
It's
caterpillar
actually
that, yeah, it's the caterpillar that develops in the silk moth, right, guys? So the green or
Yes, sir.
different colors of caterpillars which we see on the leaves of plants, they are basically going to get converted into butterfly. So it's basically one of the phase of their life. So the silkworm goes through a process of metamorphosis. Metamorphosis, have you guys heard of the term?
yes.
Yeah. Vaiga, you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So it's now the process of life cycle seen in animals like frogs, butterflies, in which their body develops into different stages. While metamorphosis is not seen in humans. Why? Why is it so that metamorphosis is the life cycle of a human baby that takes place birth after 9 months? The duration of its growth is not called as metamorphosis. Why is it so? Since the topic came here, so I thought let's discuss about it for a minute. The reason is that the human baby, since it takes form of a fetus, it does not develop into different stages. The parts of the body remain same, right? But you take example of
Yes,
a
sir.
frog. It's the egg of the frog. Okay. It later develops into tadpole like this, right, guys? This is a tadpole,
Yes,
and
sir.
then it later will develop front legs, and then it will develop into a frog having back and front legs as well. Okay, I hope that looks like a frog. Okay, so you see, the parts of their body are different in different stages. But if you see the fetus of a human body, they will be having legs, noses, okay, ears. These parts of their body start appearing when they are in the shape of a fetus. So they do not, the parts are identifiable since the birth. They do not develop in different forms. Meaning that, take example of this tadpole and take example of this adult frog. So the body parts of an adult frog and tadpole is very different now. Like it has got a tail, but this frog has not got tail. It has got two hands. But if you take example of a human baby, a full-grown human baby, he or she has got full-grown hands, legs, ears, eyes, noses, etc. And if you reverse and if you go back to go back 40 weeks, go back 40 weeks, even at that time also the baby was having legs, noses, ears, which was identifiable, but it was very tiny in shape.
Yes.
So the parts remain shape, the body parts remain same. Okay, that's why humans, the growth of human babies in the mother's womb is not termed as metamorphosis. Yeah, Sundas and Vaiga.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now let's come back to our topic. That is silk. So silk is a natural protein fiber which is obtained from silk worms and can be used as a textile fiber. Textile basically refers to what? That is cloth.
Clothes.
Yeah, cloth.
Clothes.
Now the different types of silks are produced by different types of silkworms. Now even in silk you have got different types of qualities, right? So one question on what is the food of the silkworm here? On what leaves they feed? Yes.
It eats the very small bacteria in the leaf.
Like mulberry leaves.
Mulberry leaves. Good. Mulberry leaves on this. Okay, they basically feed on mulberry leaves. One question to you guys. What do we call silk in Hindi? Yeah. By the way, Vaiga, you're originally from India or from a different country?
No, I'm from India, sir.
Okay, okay.
Kerala.
Kerala, all right. Okay, I also have friends from Kerala. All right.
Okay, sir.
So the silk in Hindi, what do we call that? Any ideas on this? And Vaiga? It's RESHAM. It's called Resham. Okay.
Yeah, Resham.
Okay,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, and Vaiga, what do we call it in Kerala? In local language, what do you call it?
Sir.
Any idea?
No, I don't remember.
Anyways, you can ask your mom. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now, out of all the natural fibers which we talked about so far, like we just talked about woolen, or there's different types of natural fibers, for example, jute. Out of all of them, silk is the strongest natural fiber. So noted one more thing. Silk is the strongest natural fiber. All right. Okay. Now the soft looking silk yarn which we see, it looks very soft now. Okay. But
Yes,
you know,
sir.
it is as strong as comparable thread of a steel. If we were to make thread of a steel, the thread of silk will be as strong as thread of a steel. So we can imagine that how strong silk fibers are, guys. Okay.
Sir, can you say it again?
Yeah, I was saying now, silk is the strongest natural fiber. Okay, and how strong it is? It is as strong as thread made out of a steel. If you were having a thread made out of steel, the thread of silk will be as strong as that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Usually the silk is basically used for making saris and other dresses. Okay. Now, It can be differentiated on the basis of luster and texture. Luster means what? Shine. The property of shine. Shining, that is lustrous. And texture means what? Colors and the chorus. Okay.
So you said luster means sign.
Yeah. Luster means shine. All right. And they can be of different texture as well. That is colors as well. Few examples of kosa, tassar, muga. Okay. So you guys can remember examples as well. That is kosa, tassar, and muga are some of the examples of silks. And they are produced by various types of silk moths. One of the common type is the mulberry silk moth. So why do we call it mulberry silk moth? Because they feed on mulberry leaves. Okay. So they majorly feed on mulberry leaves, guys. All right. Okay. Now, the practice of rearing of silkworms for obtaining silk is called as sericulture. Sericulture simply means silk farming. Silk farming. Okay. And here, especially in India, sericulture is a very old practice. Okay. India produces a lot
Sir,
of
can you
silk.
say again?
Yeah, are we saying now? Sericulture means silk farming, and it has been practiced in India for ages. It's a very old practice. Okay. And India produces a lot of silk on a commercial scale. On a large scale, silk production takes place in India. Okay. So before we discuss further, let's talk about the life history of a silk moth. Okay, let's talk about its life cycle first. The life cycle of silk moth starts like this. First, there's a egg. There is a egg laid by a female silk moth, right, guys? Then later on, it develops in a larva or caterpillar. All right, guys. Then it will develop into a pupa. And finally, it will develop into a silk moth. Okay. So here, this cocoon which you are seeing, inside this cocoon leaves the pupa. This silkworm, it gets converted into pupa that lives inside the what? Inside the cocoon. So this pupa basically secretes a fiber around its body, wraps itself around that fiber, and lives inside the cocoon for a time until it grows into a silk moth. Right, guys? Okay. So it's basically the larva or caterpillar of a silk moth, which produces silk. So the fiber that this pupa secretes around its body, that is basically the silk fiber. This white thing which you are seeing here, that is actually the silk fiber. So is it ready to be used now? No.
Here is
What the farmers?
moth.
Yeah.
Sir, the silk moth, this only will be female, not male.
It will be only female, not necessarily. Okay. I guess it's female. I guess it's female. Okay. Actually, we need to check on that. This egg is being laid by female silk moth. Okay. And as far as you see, only the female silk moths gives off fiber and wraps itself. Only the female silk moth gives off the fiber and wraps itself around it. Okay. I think you
So
guys have
if
to check
there
on
is
that.
a male,
There
so if
must be a
there is a
male.
male,
Yeah, there must be a
so
male.
it will
That's
the
why
step
it's
of
able to
pupa
give
will not be there.
the step
So
of
the
pupa.
step of pupa will not be there if it is a male.
If it's a male, it will be not dead because it will not be secreting silk fiber. Okay. So I guess we need to confirm on that. I'm having a little bit doubt on that. Like it's if it's the female pupa that secretes the fiber on its body. So that we will clear. All right, guys. Okay.
Okay, so
All right. Okay. Now this this cocoon, this is cocoon which you are seeing here, it's not ready to be used now. It's not yet ready to be used. So what the farmers does, they collect them from the silk farmers, and they will basically boil it in water. So this boiling water does, it basically kills the pupa. So it has been condemned by environmentalists since it kills the pupa, right? Okay, guys. Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
then the fiber is obtained from it via the process of spinning. Okay. So we will continue from tomorrow.